Step into my ring, you gorgeous legend. Today, we're breaking down something that's been in the ring way longer than any championship reign, and that's beauty standards in women's wrestling. They were strong, they were fierce, they were beautiful. But in WWE, beauty was never just a bonus. It was a requirement. From the glitter of the Divas Era to the grit of the women's evolution, one thing has always lingered like a shadow: beauty standards. And not just beauty, a very specific kind of beauty. Thin, perfectly polished, ultra feminine, and always camera ready. Today, we're deep diving into how WWE's image of the perfect woman has evolved, how it's empowered and harmed women's wrestling, and why it's time we stop treating beauty like a ticket to success when sometimes it's actually the price. Before the term diva even existed, WWE's version of beauty was soft, delicate, quiet. Miss Elizabeth was the blueprint. Elegant, dainty, always in a dress, a silent side piece to Macho Man's madness. She wasn't there to fight. She was there to stand there and look good. Then came Sensational Sherry, a little rougher, bolder, theatrical, but still, in women's wrestling, women weren't supposed to be tough. They were supposed to be ladylike. Wendy Richter, one of WWE's biggest female stars of the 80s. She was paired with Cyndi Lauper to make her cool enough for mainstream eyes. Fabulous Moolah, she held the title for decades, but WWE didn't care about legacy. They cared about image. And when the world changed, WWE didn't want women who looked like Moolah. They wanted models. Beauty in the early days meant being a valet, a manager. You could be there, but not in the spotlight. And definitely not if you challenged the male gaze too much. Chyna didn't look like the WWE woman because the WWE woman didn't exist yet. She was muscular, stoic, bigger than most men. She didn't smile on cue, and yet she was a game changer. Chyna wrestled men and won. She wasn't just eye candy or a ballet. She was power in the rawest form. She made strength beautiful, even when the world tried to call her manly. But the industry, it never fully embraced her. She was mocked, undervalued, and eventually erased. Chyna wasn't too ugly for WWE. She was too real, too disruptive. So before we talk about the diva search, before we get into flat stomach and Playboy covers, we have to acknowledge the truth. Beauty standards in WWE were always there. They just kept changing shape, from being invisible to being exploited to being repackaged as empowerment. At every stage, the cost was carried by the woman. Okay, so here we are, early 2000s. You remember the look. Blonde hair, flat abs, long legs, big boobs, tiny gears, Playboy spreads. This was the era of divas. Not wrestlers, not athletes, divas. Trish Stratus, Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler fit the mold. And if you didn't fit that mold, you didn't make it on screen. There were exceptions, Lita, Jazz, Victoria, but they were treated like outliers. The WWE Diva Search wasn't a wrestling tryout. It was a swimsuit competition in disguise. And the message was crystal clear. You can learn to wrestle later, but first, be hot. Be TV pretty, be marketable, be male gaze approved. The woman had to walk the tightrope, look like a model, but move like a fighter, sell a match, but also sell sex appeal. The standard, unrealistic. The pressure, crushing. Here's what they don't tell you. Behind the glitter and glam, there was pain. There were eating disorders, plastic surgeries, constant injuries made worse by trying to stay TV ready, toxic comparisons backstage. Mickie James was fat shamed live on TV, despite being in top tier shape. Jazz was overlooked, even though she could out-wrestle half the roster. Chyna ridiculed for being too masculine, despite literally being one of the most iconic women in wrestling history. Let that sink in. Even the best women in the world were told, "You're not what we want." Not because of talent, but because of looks. And when women aged, gained weight, got injured, they didn't get support. They got replaced. The physical toll was heavy, but the emotional toll, that lasted longer. Still, some women fought back. Trish Stratus entered as a model and left a Hall of Famer. Melina brought high glam paparazzi vibes and became one of the most agile women in the ring. Beth Phoenix showed that muscles are beautiful and powerful. These women started in the box and broke out. They proved you could be the beauty and still bring the fight. But even then, the standard didn't disappear. It just got rebranded. So here comes Paige. Black hair, pale skin, no fake tan, no bubbly smile. She walked out with her leather jacket. Her message, think again. Before Becky and before Sasha, Paige was the rebellion. She wasn't trying to fit the mold. She was a mold breaker. She was also a pretty damn good wrestler. Paige proved you didn't need to be a Barbie to belong in the ring. She gave hope to every misfit girl watching from home, thinking, "I'll never be that pretty, but maybe I can still be great." She made being different cool. She told us we didn't have to shrink ourselves to be accepted. In 2015, a lot changed. Hashtag give divas a chance blew up online. NXT's women were outshining the men. And suddenly, we weren't asking for 60-second matches. We were demanding main events. Enter Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, Bayley, the four horsewomen. They weren't just beautiful, they were talented, respected, powerful, technical. This was a shift. Finally, women could be wrestlers first. They had different styles, different strengths, different vibes. Even in this evolution, beauty standards didn't disappear. Again, they just evolved. Enter Jade Cargill. The game is changing again. Where WWE once prized the thin blonde aesthetic, Jade walked in like a living superhero. Muscular, powerful, unapologetically strong. She wasn't trying to be feminine in the way that WWE defined it. She redefined it. She is stunning in every way they told women not to be. Jade proved that muscles don't make you manly. They make you iconic. Here's a scary thought. Today's women have more expectations than ever before. They're expected to have gym-honed bodies, look glam 24/7, be social media ready, kill it on the mic, and deliver match of the night quality every week. And don't think the comments go away. The body shaming still happens. The beauty pressure is still intense. Now we praise diversity, but let's be real. The machine still centers Eurocentric beauty. Women of color, plus-size women, older women still fighting twice as hard for half the spotlight. Thankfully, some changes are happening. Bianca Belair, Naomi, that is Black excellence personified. Asuka brings chaos and authenticity. Raquel Rodriguez, Zelina Vega, all standing tall in a once whitewashed division. But we're not there yet. Representation matters because little girls watching need to see themselves in that ring. Beauty standards in wrestling don't just hurt feelings, they end careers. They limit opportunity, damage mental health, create unsafe expectations, prioritize looks over legacy. And worst of all, they send a message to young fans that looking perfect is more important than being real. So where do we go from here? This is what I believe. Wrestling is an art, and the women in that ring, they're not dolls. They're storytellers, athletes, icons. Real change looks like this. Hiring based on skill and charisma. Letting women evolve with age, weight, and life. Encouraging authenticity over perfection. Beauty isn't the problem, but when it becomes a requirement, that's when it becomes dangerous. Let's celebrate women for everything that they bring, not just what they look like doing it. In this ring, beauty comes in bruises and scars and survival. If this video spoke to you, drop a like, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tell me, which woman broke the mold for you? Who changed what beauty means in wrestling to you? I'm Gawjus Mara, and baby, I'm too cute to tap out.